We request to negotiate. We come to you unarmed. We desire to communicate. You cannot do us harm.
Like a white flag warrior.
White flag warrior.
Term white
Flag warrior?
A white flag warrior is someone who says, I will engage the conflict, but not according to its terms. I will have a mission that's transcendent to the conflict, though engaged with it, and seeking to be integrated into the mission, into the conflict so as to transform it.
And this white flag movement is going to keep bringing all warriors together from all nations so we can keep moving.
And so what would their mission be and what would their, mode of combat be? And I feel like a mode of combat for a white flag warrior is maintaining nonviolence in every single action, and kind of, evaluating if it's their ego that's making them be aggressive, or if it is their values, So I feel like a white flag warrior would more be more aggressive about their values than their ego.
It has a lot to do with consciousness and perception about who you are in the state that you're living in as well. And it's a very holistic approach, I think, that the white flag warrior needs to have to really solving problems. And it goes beyond that initial knee-jerk reaction that you have to become violent against your enemy.
And so if we really want to be nonviolent, and if we want to be, I think, true to the sense of white flag warrior, then we have to say we won't even threaten violence. And I'm hopeful that we can be imaginative and creative enough to say I have solutions that don't threaten violence.
It's somebody strong enough and powerful enough within themselves, secure in their sense of what's right and what needs to happen, that they're willing to surrender to that. I think that's a great spiritual ideal. My concern is the practical application of that spiritual ideal.
Life is a risk, and I think we make a choice what risks we're going to take. So if we choose war, if we choose violence, if we choose militarism, if we choose to have weapons, we put ourselves at risk. Now, in the United States culture, we've said, well, those are the things that give us security. But in a nonviolent way of life, we believe that relationships give us security, that human rights and fundamental human needs give us security. And so I want to teach my children, I want to teach my students, I want to be part of a community that engages in security built on relationships.
And for me, a white flag warrior is my family members, the people who have taught me to treat people the way I wish to be treated.
Deconstructing the conflict and trying to get back to a platform of equality is much more often a more courageous move than picking up arms and fighting somebody. And I think that's where the warrior comes from. The warrior comes from the spirit of the courage that it takes to really face your enemy. And especially in Iraq, it was an enemy that I didn't fully understand. Culture, language, a religion that was very different than my own.
My connection to white flag is like, I come in peace. Not I give up, not I'm too weak, not I didn't win. I come in peace.
More. And that white flag warrior is a symbol of that courage to really be able to face that person and have the courage to sit down at a table and say, okay, what do we have in common? What fears do we share that we can try to overcome together? And that often is a larger struggle, I think, than actually fighting somebody.
LA and New York, and what OGs and homeboys are all saying is that we need peace, that we need a white flag to raise over our communities, whether it be in the barrio or the ghetto, to start to have these real conversations about race and violence in our community.
The term white flag warrior to me, of course, being with the military background, kind of signifies, you got this white flag to surrender, but with the white flag warrior, it's kind of like the person that's the bravest, the bravest to want to actually to stop things, stop what's going on, and kind of maybe figure out a different way on how to do things.
There are white flag warriors in our society now.
Byron
My
Plumley.
name's Garrett Reppenhagen.
I'm Leslie Johnson.
Hey y'all, this is Rudy Valles.
My name is Jessica Liebelt.
Dan Connard.
I'm Catherine O'Neill Thorne.
I work at Regis University in Denver, Colorado. I direct the Peace and Justice Studies major and coordinate justice education for the university.
I'm a community organizer, an anti-war activist, and a war veteran.
Worked in mental health in the Army for 4 years at in Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas.
You know, I worked with gangs in Colorado since I was a teenager, gang member myself. Was director of a program called the Gang Rescue Support Project and a founder of the Metro Denver Gang Coalition. Since then, I work around the whole country, working with gang members from the West Coast to the East Coast, you know, in the Midwest, all the way in Memphis, LA, and New York.
I'm a co-founder and organizer of Progressive Veterans.
I also co-founder of ProgressiveVeterans.org. I served in the military for 4 years, active duty. Went to Iraq in 2005.
And we work with really high-risk, struggling young people using poetry and other creative expressions to help young people find some kind of transformation, some kind of value within themselves. So it's a great vehicle for them to discover that they're creative geniuses.
Warrior!